acting about?
She like me, I kinda dig it, so I did my thing for her. She joining with me, now we getting groovy, hotter than jacuzzi. So shorty, won't you slow it down? See the other fellas, they like hating. They try to do it like me, it ain't the same. Front to back, shorty, side to side, and they ready. You with a soldier now, cause you're so fly, girl. You should come to my crib, yeah. But he gon' feel more, no, you know I'm you should be my girl. You should be my girl.
Hey, 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 it's your girl Nay coming to you with another episode of As Told by Nay, the podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and let's talk about it. Oh, what's good? What's good? Happy Thursday. I love when I start my show and I have my guests and I start playing my Sammy and they be bopping because people be sleep on Sammy. They don't be understanding why I still listen to him. But my boy got hits.
That's one thing I do know. You love that man.
I do. Okay, so again, happy Thursday. I hope everyone's having a great day thus far. My day has been pretty busy, but I'm glad that it is coming to an end. I love doing this part of my Thursday evening. I've got Miss Natasha Brown sitting here with me today, having this dialogue in regards to grief and loss. Now, before we get into our conversation, for those of you that don't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm a therapist. My girl's a therapist. I actually know her from school. We went to get our masters together. So I'm glad that she was able to come through and speak to this topic with me and have a personal experience and is open to sharing her story, as well as giving us some information about what it is that she does, all in regards to this. So if I had to give tonight's conversation a title, I will call it Moving On. Again, we're going to be talking about the importance of grieving. But before we get into that, because that's heavy stuff, we're going to take this shot. We're going to toast for the evening. I'm going to let Tasha tell us what we're toasting to this evening. So yes, this is for you.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do this one right here. What are we toasting to this evening?
Oh, let's see. Betterment. Wealth. Success.
Yes.
Peace. And mental health. It is Therapy Thursday.
It is Therapy Thursday. I like that. Therapy Thursday. I'm going to have to steal that. Ooh. Not my normal that I would normally take a shot of, but got the job done. All right. So going right into my segment of Excuse Me, Come Again. You did not get to prepare for this. Excuse Me, Come Again is 4 random questions. I'm just going to ask you. You just got to answer it.
Jesus.
Just go with it. Answer as honestly as possible. And it's an icebreaker. Kind of get you, just go with it.
Okay.
All right. Question number 1. What is your favorite method of self-care?
I don't know if it's between pampering myself or binge watching with Netflix. Because I get so absorbed in these series and I could stay in bed for hours as long as I have food, ice cream, some Sprite. I would say pop, but you Southerners would say soda. Or pampering myself, the nails, the toes, the eyelashes, the hair. That is so relaxing to me.
All that good stuff. Pop. Where are you from?
Detroit.
That's right.
313 Motor City. What up, though?
Pop. It's soda.
It's pop.
Just teasing. Okay, so yes, definitely some good forms of self-care, and we'll get a little bit more into that within this conversation as well. I think a lot of women like pampering as a good form of self-care, so nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 2.
Oh boy.
How do you feel about OnlyFans accounts in relationships?
I don't know, because it's making money, so I don't know. I really don't know. I've never went on anyone's OnlyFans page, so I really don't know what they be doing on here.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure some exotic things that they're doing there. So I guess it's between that person and their significant other, what boundaries they have set in their relationship.
It look a little different for everybody, for sure. Sure.
Yeah, it does.
This question came up because I actually know some people that there's been like a lot of OnlyFans talk since quarantine started. It started booming. People was like, all right, we want to get these coins up. But in relationships, what does that look like? Are we doing it together? Are you cool with this person doing it on their own? Are we showing face? Like, what we doing? Some people on that side of the argument would say you can't stop somebody's coins. But then on the other side of that is, but that's mine. What you doing?
I've never subscribed to anyone's OnlyFans, but you have to compare it to, women that are entertainers in, strip clubs. They're showing things.
Okay.
So, and they bring home bags and bags and bags. I just was looking on IG. It was a girl. She posted $75K, spread it out on her floor.
From stripping?
Yes. Yes. So it's like, what's the difference?
Wow.
She got to get topless.
Wow.
OnlyFans, like I said, I'm pretty sure they're doing some exotic things. I might learn a few things if I subscribe to one. 75.
Okay.
Yes.
See, never mind. All right.
I was scratching my head like, I want to be a therapist still.
Listen, okay. That's a lot of money.
But I don't got no Meg Thee Stallion knees, so
a couple shots.
I can't dance like you.
Oh my god. Everybody be saying that, but literally it's because I be drinking and you just forget everything. It's just like I feel like I'm 20
Have you seen them heels they have on though?
Yeah.
Flat on the floor.
Okay. And then question number 3, what is your biggest non-physical deal breaker? Like, so if a guy is trying to get at you or you guys are in the dating process, something not to deal with his physical physique, but will be like, okay, that is a no-go.
I guess self-absorbed.
Okay.
Selfish. Being that I have 2 children, if they're not, I don't want to say they have to be family oriented, but
it helps.
It helps a lot.
Definitely.
So that's a real major deal breaker for me. I've dated since I've had my oldest child, and a guy told me, "Oh, I only want to be with someone that I don't want to be with someone with kids. I want my child to be their first child." And I was like, "Oh, that's a deal breaker."
Right.
You'll never love my child like you love your own. So yeah, that was
okay. So not family oriented, but also not. When you say self-absorbed, you mean like so they just kind of.
It's all about them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like I like to be complimented. It's like, oh, you look nice, but I got on this Gucci outfit and these Gucci shoes. Okay, but have on your drip designer. But what about me?
Right. Make me feel pretty.
Yeah.
I have definitely heard horror stories about people dating with self-absorbed men, and the conversation is all about them, and they don't ask no questions. You don't really get to know the woman because you just me, and that definitely can be
it's ego-driven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I don't pick up on that because I don't talk a lot about myself anyway. So when I'm in the presence of someone else talking about themselves, it doesn't come off as being self-absorbed, more so like I'm keeping the conversation going because they're not saying nothing.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see that. My biggest non-physical, turn off deal breaker is stinky breath. I didn't realize so many people in adulthood had stinky breath, but this is a real thing.
It is, and because the physical piece to me is teeth. I'm very big on teeth.
Yes.
Your teeth is jacked. No, I guess I go to the left. But the teeth is a big thing, and then a lot of guys that drink and smoke weed, they breath stink. It's like you smoke weed, you drink, then you eat something, then you smoke another blunt, and it's like, when you gonna brush your teeth?
Brush your teeth.
Because you have your, what's it called, wake and bake.
Right.
Then you need one for when you leave the house for the car. Then when you get to your next destination. So that's 3 right there. And you brush your teeth one time only. Then you ate breakfast. Then you start to drink. Your breath stinks.
Your breath stinks.
I hate to say what it possibly smell like, but
your breath definitely stinks. To each his own with their different vices. Just brush your teeth before you talk to Nate, please, and thank you. And then question number 4. The climate that the world is in right now. As a African American woman, what do you think is your biggest fear? Just living.
I don't know.
Okay. Something to think about.
Yeah, that's something I have to think about because we see the police are killing our Black men, and now it's navigated to us Black women.
Facts.
So just like yesterday's experience, I went into Publix and I was on the phone grabbing my mask. Do you need a mask? And then the man with his cart, he just stopped in midway and just looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, okay, is he gonna cuss me out? Is he gonna tackle me down because I have my mask on yet? So I guess, this era that we're in with Caucasians against, Black America, that's really scary right now.
Yeah. And realistically, people try to act like they don't understand that that's a real thing, but it is.
It is.
It is. Race is definitely a big factor right now.
It is. And I just had this conversation with my daughter last week. She's in the 6th grade and she's in a predominantly Caucasian school, private school. And she was telling me that they were having, racial and political conversations. And I, stopped in mid-sentence. I said, you aren't to join these conversations at all. I want you to voice your opinion only if a teacher is present. Mm-hmm. But when it's just you and your friends or classmates, you're not to join. And she asked me why. And I said, you have to realize it's 2 6th grade classrooms and it's only 3 Black kids in her classroom. Mm-hmm. So I never want them to be against you because you said something that triggered them.
Right.
So, like I said, I want her to voice her opinion only when an adult is present, but not when it's just the kids.
I don't think that's fair. What's crazy is I have a couple of different homeboys too, with children that have been talking about the dialogue that they've had to have with their kids, just with everything going on these days. And it's really sad.
It is.
It's really sad that we're really having to have these conversations.
Yeah, because I allowed her to go back physically to school in August. And of course, everyone was excited to be back. And then, of course, the election was coming up and you had the kids with their Trump socks and Make America Great Again mask. And
oh, wow.
And then it finally came out, an email came out that they were going to have the children not wear those type of things to the school. But it's like, that should have been like nipped in the bud in the beginning.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
For kids. That's crazy that it's happening with kids. Mm-hmm. Wow.
But again, this is predominantly Caucasian environment. It's very wealthy parents. I have, like, this school is like $15K all the way to $25K a year. So these, families are, some wealthy families that sending their kids to this school, private school.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay, so those were the come again questions.
Okay. So bad, I was over here sweating, y'all. I was sweating.
Everybody always be like,
oh, was it the shot?
It might be a little bit of both. People always be like, oh, why we gotta do these random questions? I'm not ready, but it's never nothing that y'all think it's gonna be. It's always pretty. I keep it light. We are live.
Yeah.
And I never know who's watching. Sometimes people watch with their kids, so I don't want to do too much. But
you gotta give a disclosure because we gotta keep it real though.
And we definitely do that. So going right into this conversation of moving on. So again, we're going to be talking about the importance of processing and really understanding what grief looks like for you and your ability to move forward with it. I'm going to open the floor to you just because I know you personally, so I know that you have lots of experience with this conversation. And I want you to take some time to kind of explain to the people why I chose you. Give us a little bit of background, your story, the situation with your sister, just how you have moved forward in life, and all things that has to do with that.
Okay. So I have a childhood of lots of trauma that I experienced from the age of, 7 all the way to adulthood. So I lost my mom at the age of 11, father in and out of prison, split up from my siblings due to the death of my mom, and raised by my adoptive family. Went away to college, started my life off, had a college sweetheart, got pregnant, had my baby, and then my 28-year-old sister go out on a double date with her friend. And she did not come home one day. And so, we call the police, we do a missing person report, we call on search parties. Then a week later, my sister was identified by her dental records because she was mutilated and burned up in a city garbage can.
Wow.
So again, she went on a double date. I know a lot of people are going to have questions like, well, what about the other person she was on a date with? So her girlfriend and her went on a double date with two guys. One of the guys my sister knew. They had been previously talking. His cousin from out of town joined them, and that's why she asked a girlfriend to come, something responsible as women would do. They went out to a club, left there, went out to another club, left there. When you leave club, you're hungry, only thing is open, McDonald's. So they stop at McDonald's, drop my sister girlfriend off, and my sister was next to be dropped off, but she never made it home.
Wow.
I think about 5 a.m., the West Side City of Detroit, one of their districts, fire department got a fire call. They put out the fire. They didn't know what was in the garbage can. Come to find out, it was my sister's body. That, again, she was ID'd by her dental records. So just sum all that up with, on top of me just having a baby.
Wow.
On top of all of that, I was in a domestic violence relationship with her father. So I was going through a lot. So I'm grieving the loss of a relationship. I'm dealing with, self issues because I'm in this domestic violence relationship. And then now I'm talking to my other sister about homicide detectives telling us we can't see her remains because they don't want this to be the last picture we have of her. And they have nobody to arrest at this time because the people that went on a date with her, they can't find. And now I'm planning her funeral.
Wow.
So it was pretty hard. Of course, we had to get her cremated. Her ashes do remain in Detroit with my other sister. So it was just a lot.
That sounds like a lot.
So that all triggered back to my childhood because at this time I'm screaming out, "Mommy, I want my mommy." But again, my mom passed away when I was 11 years old.
Wow.
So that just started a whole new cycle. So when I say I went deep down in that hole, I went deep down. First time mom, I'm grieving a relationship that was domestic. I'm a first time mom. I lost my sister. So all this depression just overcame me. And that hole just got bigger and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I just kept falling. I kept falling. I kept falling. And then, it got bad, but, I had to seek help.
Right.
Which a therapy, every good therapist have a therapist.
Hello. Talk about it.
So,
talk about it.
I had to go to therapy. They tried to put me on medication. I'm like, I'm not taking on medication. You know what? I don't even want to talk to y'all no more.
Right.
So, of course, I got out of therapy. And it's like, no, I got to go back. So I went back. And then I self-care. I went on a vacation.
Yes.
To Bradenton. I do have friends here that I went to college with that I would come visit. So that was some self-care that I did. And when I came here, I did not want to leave.
Okay.
And it was to the point where I was on my flight and I interfered with us taking off because my panic attack, me going back home to Detroit, overpowered me. And I was like, I want to stay. I just got to go back and get my baby. I'm coming back. And everyone was like, no, you're not, Tasha. I said, yes, I am. So I was on the plane crying like boo-hoo, and they wouldn't close the door. They was like, do we need to call the EMS?
Right. What's going on? So,
and I was like, you know what, y'all, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm coming back. And I came back. And I was like, I'm moving here. And I was like, I'm moving in the historic district of West Bradenton. They was like, no, you're not. I said, take me to this Secretary of State. And they was like, what is that? I said, where you get your ID at? Oh, the tax collector? I was like, yep, take me there right now. So I had my friend mom sign the paperwork saying that I was going to live with her so I can get my ID. And I was like, okay, they're going to mail it to your house. And then it was like, no, you got to go right there and pick it up. And I was like, can I cut? Yes. I was like, oh, shit. They was like, here's your new driving license. I was like, but what about my Michigan one? They was like, oh, that's voided now. You're starting your Florida residency here. And I was like, oh, Lord, but I'm a social worker up in Michigan. I got to drive. So when I got back to Michigan, of course, they do random checks on your driver's license because, you know, case management, child protective services, sometimes you have to drive kids. And it was like, Natasha, your Michigan license is void. I was like, yeah, I'm moving to Florida come February. So this was in October. I was like, I'm going to move in February, you know, after the tax time. So I got some extra money. So, and I ended up moving. I really did move. And I moved to West Bradenton.
To new experiences, which is dope. I think that that's very brave. You said something very important there, that in the middle of trying to grieve your sister, you were also grieving a relationship and also reliving the trauma that stemmed from the passing of your mother. I don't think people realize that grief comes and looks different for everybody, but you can grieve other things other than someone dying. Yes. Someone leaving your life in general. You can grieve friendships that have ended. You can grieve jobs that abruptly taken in. You can grieve situations. Like, it's not necessarily just that someone died. So for you, you had a lot of stuff at the same time that you were processing.
Yeah, and that's just like depression. Depression is not always manic.
Right.
It can be situational.
It looks different and
it looks very different. It's very situational. So with me, again, it triggered my past childhood trauma. And then me self-doubting. Then I'm grieving the loss of my sister. And at this point, I was angry because these people had murdered my sister. Right. I was depressed. And at the same time, I'm shocked that I'm a mom. Like, I got somebody depending on me.
Right.
So I'm going through all these stages of grief at one time.
And still having to be a mother. A new mom at that, with no guidance from your mom. Wow. So can I ask, your sister that was murdered, was she older, younger?
She was older. So she was 28 years old.
Oh, wow. So young. So young.
So young. And at that time I was 23. So she's 5 years. And then Selena is 4 years.
Okay. Which is crazy too, because then you think like, and this is me just assuming, but it gives you that idea of, I'm a new mom. I don't have my mom. I don't have my older sister. And I'm still dealing with all, because it takes a village. And for sure, those are the folks that we look to for that guidance. Correct. When we start that journey of parenthood, or our parents, or those older siblings
and aunties.
Right, right. So you were raised in an adoptive setting. Do you have aunts or other family members?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I don't want to take credit away from no family member. When I say it takes a village to raise a child, I have a village. So in the beginning of the transition of me being separated from my siblings, I went from my mom to my aunt, back to my mom, to my aunt, to my dad's girlfriend, from my dad's girlfriend to her mother, who raised me, which is my grand. And from there, when I got hot in high school and thought I was the shit.
Not hot.
I was like, I don't want to be with this old lady no more.
Fast.
I was fast.
What the old
and I was
folks
like,
used to tell us.
I'm begging my father's sister and his mom, like, can I come stay with y'all? Because my grand, she's too strict. She's old. She don't understand. Because guess what? All I wanted to do was go to the football games, go to the basketball games, and go hang out.
Mm-hmm.
But granted, I still was doing my thing in school though.
Right.
But she's like, it's a school week. You can't always do that. And I had to go to church every Sunday. And I was like, but I want to go out.
Want to hang.
So then I transitioned back to my paternal grandmother home.
Okay.
And with my aunt and my grandmother there. So yeah, and it takes a village. And I have my best friend, who she extended, the olive branch and gave me her mother. Okay. So that's another auntie that I look at. Very so good. I have a true village behind me.
Very good. I am here for that because I too have an extensive village. Shout out to my village.
Yeah.
And it looks very different. Not all blood relatives, friends of family, all of that good stuff. So I'm glad that at least there was that solid support there for you, because there was a lot going on in your life at that time. And it seems like has been since you were a child. So
yes.
Just that kind of molding and shaping who you were came at a cost.
And it did. And I don't know if you remember when we had group therapy.
Oh, yes. I remember.
Our professor told me, she said, Natasha, your life has always been chaotic. Mm-hmm. That's why you like being a social worker, working with dependency, because that crisis thrives you. Yeah. And that's what you live on. And I was like, you're right.
Right.
I've been doing this for now. My daughter will be 12 this year. So I've been doing this for 13 years with child protective services, social work, and mental health for 13 years.
And you said something earlier, too, that every good therapist has a therapist, because 9 times out of 10, every good therapist that has a therapist has a story.
Yes.
There's something there that drives them. And this is why we love what we do and why we find that passion there, because once upon a time, we needed that.
I was on the other side of that in that chair. Yep.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. So with us talking about, grief, you posted something and tagged me in it on Instagram. I did want to get into the stages of grief. A lot of people don't know that there are stages. Some people do know, and they feel like there's this rule to how this goes. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of some of that misunderstanding right now. We're going to talk about these stages. We're going to talk about the fact that they don't always go in order. And we're going to talk a little bit about how they looked in your actual life. I'm sure everyone has grieved something. If you're just tuning in, we definitely talked about the fact that grief comes and looks differently. It can be someone dying. It can be a job. It can be a relationship. It can be whatever the case may be. And it looks different. So the stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And again, it looks differently. So let's talk just a little bit about the denial piece. I think everyone has been in a place where they've lost something. And initially, I feel like this really does happen first. You can't believe that it's happening, or you don't want to believe, you don't really accept it. You kind of continue your day to day as if this ain't really what it is. And for me, that's that denial piece. Do you feel like you kind of went through that, or did you start somewhere else once everything came out about your sister?
So in regards to my sister, I was in shock and in denial. Okay. I'm like, I'm shocked that this is happening. I'm shocked that, my family is all over the news. This is a high profile case. Then I'm in denial because, mind you, I'm in college an hour away. And then everyone's back home in Detroit. So it's like, to me, it's like, okay, everyone's at home in Detroit. They're fine. They're okay. I just haven't talked to them. So I was in denial. So that was like that mechanism to say, like, just be numb to everything.
Out of sight, out of mind.
It's out of sight, out of mind. But then when I drive that hour drive home, like, okay, well, what's going on? And everyone's crying and their eyes are red and there's snot everywhere. And my other sister's laying on the floor because that's her best friend. They grew up together. They're exactly 1 year apart. So it's like, okay, this can't be real. Right. This is I'm in a dream. I'm just gonna go back to sleep. So that was my denial for that piece.
Okay. And for those of you watching, this can apply across the board. And I just kind of want you in this moment with us to think about some things that you have lost in your past, or even currently. When I tell you, I got so many phone calls and so many texts and just going down my timeline, there has been so much loss over the
Oh my
last year,
gosh.
2
Yes.
years even. Not only just in personal lives, but just us as a community watching people dying on live,
Mm-hmm.
stream, TV, video, phones, and all of those things. Like, all of that affects you, whether you know that person personally or not. Just being in that moment and having that connection as a community can be very hurtful.
Very hurtful. Example, like my best friend. So last year she lost a total of 4 people.
Mm.
And then her aunt, who, she's older, she lost a total of 49 people due to COVID.
Wow. 49.
49.
My God.
So she's completely numb
Yeah.
to the situation. And to make matters worse is she works at a funeral home.
Oh. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And so she had to see her friends.
Mm-mm.
She just buried one of my best friends that passed away last November. And she's like, this is just too much. I can't. She's like, I can't even cry anymore because there's so many people that's just leaving left and right.
Right.
And it's, COVID, health issues, murders and things like that. But she lost that many people last year to COVID.
Wow. That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy.
It is. So for me, when I got out of denial with my sister, I went straight to depression.
Okay. So
I wasn't angry.
Okay.
I didn't get angry until I'm like, I'm so depressed. I got this newborn baby. I don't want to get out of bed. So I'm just giving her a bottle, propping her up. And it's like, okay, that's not healthy. So I didn't get angry until after, I started coming out of my depression. Because it's like, I wouldn't even be in this mess if y'all punks wouldn't have killed my sister. I wouldn't be in this mess if this dodo brain wasn't beating on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
it's a little different.
It was just a lot.
Okay.
It was a lot.
So you skipped over the anger and the bargaining. And for me personally, I think because how my mind works, I actually follow from the denial to the anger to the bargaining to the depression and to the acceptance. Like every time when I think back, and I was thinking about different situations as I was preparing for tonight, and I was like, dang, Nate, you really do like follow it step by step. And I think it's just because that's how my brain works, like in succession. Like first I don't believe it, then I do believe it, so now I'm mad, and then because I'm mad and I'm hurt, I'm like, well, God, why? I'm a very spiritual person, so that bargaining is definitely right there behind it, where it's like, okay, no, this can't be. What can I do?
The bargaining for me, I never had to like even when my mom passed away, I wasn't, begging God, asking him why. That I can remember. I would have to go back in my journals, counseling back then made me journal everything. So I'm pretty sure I did back then. But as an adult, I haven't, the things that I've experienced now, I haven't asked God why. Because now I'm to the point where everything happens for a reason. And I go through this depression. So I don't cope well with different situations.
Right.
So that's that situational depression.
Right.
Which, hey, I deal with it.
I feel like a lot of people don't even realize it, honestly.
I deal with situational depression. My coping skills suck at times.
Hello.
Yes, I'm a therapist. I don't want to follow up my own homework sometimes. But my coping skills for these situations, I didn't deal with it. So I went to depression. When I come out of depression, I'm angry.
Yeah.
So, and I experienced that growing up. So in middle school, I'm angry, and I started lashing out. High school, I lashed out, and it was to the point where don't talk to me. We was gonna fight, we was gonna throw them things, and it was gonna be done. College, I did the same thing. I was fighting, and everybody was like, "What's wrong with this girl? She's so cute. She fight all the time." I was angry,
right?
Because I had came out of depression. It's like I had to go through all this, and now I'm gonna be angry. I'm gonna take it out on somebody else.
Thanks.
I'm gonna take it out on somebody else. So now that I'm going through the depression, and then I did the anger, now it's like, okay, I can't beat up the world. I can't beat up the world. And it's going to be somebody that's going to knock my butt out.
Right.
So let me go ahead and accept the fact that this stuff is real.
It is.
It's happening. I done went through it. And, it's okay to be vulnerable. That's not weak. That's a superpower.
Hello.
It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. It's okay to lay down on the floor in a fetal position. Because I done it plenty of times.
I do all of that.
I've done it plenty of times, and it's okay.
Right.
So now that I've accepted everything, I accepted the fact that a man that I once loved no longer wanted me, and he took his frustrations out on me. I accept that. But I was a good young lady, and I was the mother of his child. I accepted that. I accepted the fact that, you know, these gentlemen did whatever they did to my sister and they killed her. I accepted that. But let me put a twist on the story. So the guys that murdered my sister, they paid 2 drug addicts to set the garbage can on fire. Those 2 men were caught on camera going into the gas station to get the tank, filling it up, running across the street.
Wow.
The next thing you know, there's a fire. And then they run down the street again. So those 2 men were caught. They did time. They only did time for tampering with evidence and burning of city property, because they couldn't charge them with burning of a corpse because they didn't know what was in the garbage can. So then that triggered more depression.
Right.
Because the victim advocacy program never reached out to us. So we didn't even know that all this process was going on. We didn't know that they were getting sentenced till after the fact. So we were angry all over again. Right. So we're Crime Stoppers, we're reaching out to the news, we're reaching out to homicide, and it's like, y'all took that away from us. I was supposed to, how I am here present today, voicing my opinion and my facts and how I feel, I was supposed to do that at court, and y'all took that away from us. So now I only can do it at the parole board. So I was at every parole board. I wrote every parole meeting, even when I moved to Florida. And eventually they got out. I think they only had to serve 6 to 10 years for that crime, and they eventually got out. So when I got that phone call that they were being released, you know, it triggered some emotions. It took me back down memory lane. You know, I cried out, but again, you know, I had to accept it. And it's not about just moving on. It's about accepting it and being vulnerable. And, you know, sometimes, you know, in situations, you had to hold yourself accountable for certain actions. You have to accept it, and you had to sit in that chair and deal with it and cry it out, write it out.
Agreed. And what's crazy is, when you think about the different stages of grief, I think it looks different as you mature too. The way you handle things when you're in childhood or adolescence looks completely different when you become an adult. So I think for me, the bargaining piece stopped once I became an adult. And it's like, you can't question, like you said, things happen for a reason. It is what it is. I think I was able to move more quickly into the acceptance piece as an adult than I was when I was a kid. Definitely lashing out, definitely trying to fight on people, definitely had anger management problems. And as a grown-up, you're able to recognize a little bit better, like, okay, this is not good. Like, we got to figure this thing out. And the understanding of, you know, really processing what's happening becomes more important.
Yes. And I think the maturity, and also me having a child, because I had a child, and then I ended up working for the state of Michigan. And it's like, I can't go around fussing, cussing, and fighting. And I work for the state of Michigan. I lose my job, my benefits.
And then it's different when your livelihood is a factor.
Right. And it's something I posted on IG the other day. I posted my oldest daughter, and I said, this little girl changed my life. She changed my life. And, you know, my youngest daughter, she has molded me into the woman I am today, because I feel like my sister and my grand that raised me, even though she's my adopted grand, I feel like they're in her, because she's so feisty. She reminds me of me. She reminds me of my sister. She reminds me of my grand.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it's like, she's molded me, and I go so hard for them now. And it's like, I have too much to lose to be letting my anger and emotions control the situation. So I don't make any drastic decisions while I'm upset anymore or emotional. I have to calm down.
That's what's up. And I kind of want to double back to, you know, and let's talk more on a therapeutic level, kind of what you said, that situation of depression and sometimes anxiety that stems from not properly grieving. I don't think people understand that if you don't process your stuff and you don't actually deal with what's going on, it then looks like something different. It's no longer sadness. That anger looks different. That acting out looks different. And sometimes it can push these manic phases that look a lot like she need to be on some medication.
Yeah.
When really it is no, she needs to deal with the things that are going on in her life.
No, I'm laughing because you said medication. My maintenance man in my facility, he said, Miss Natasha, you ever thought about getting on medication? Because I said, this building is a mess. It's triggering my anxiety. You know, I'm redoing my building. And he's like, you need to calm down. I said, no, you have my facility in a disarray. And I have real bad anxiety and PTSD. And you're triggering it. And I told him, he said, you ever thought about getting on medication? I said, yes, I have been on medication before. And I'm not on medication right now, but I want my building cleaned up.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that situational depression and different things. With what I do, I see that a lot. I am currently working with court-ordered clients who have multiple DUIs. They're habitual offenders. So now it is, okay, we need you to go see somebody because clearly this drinking and driving and drugging and driving is a problem. And that looks like probation. That looks like all these fees. That looks like having to see a therapist. That looks like having to do groups in AA and all of that stuff and dealing with life while you're still having a job, while you're still being a parent, while you're still trying to maintain and balance whatever else you got going on in your life. That could definitely cause lots of situational depression. Grief is no different. When you're dealing with the loss of a parent, loss of a sibling, loss of a child, dog, job, whatever the case may be, it's a ripple effect and it does affect other areas in your life. So if you don't properly process what's happening directly with the grief, now you sad or now you real mad or now you acting crazy and you lashing out at people. For you, with the people or persons that you work with, how do you kind of explain this piece to them as far as needing to really process and deal in reality and process what's happening to them so not to lead to that situational depression?
So with the youth that I work with now, it's very hard. So I'm strictly working with all youth that are in foster care within dependency court for Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough. So all these youth are ages 10 to 17. So it's very difficult for me to pinpoint which situation is triggering them because they have no stability. They're all in foster care, group home, different foster homes. They're all in interim placement. So when they come to my facility, they have nowhere to go during the day. So by the time they leave, they have an identified placement. And if not, they're stuck at the office until they find somewhere to go. So this is triggering to them. So I have some kids that are like, man, this is crazy. I'm tired of being in foster care. But it's like, if you stop running and get a permanent placement and get enrolled in school, then it's like you haven't been in school. So now you're 3 grades behind and now you're embarrassed. So it's a roller coaster for them. So for a lot of these youth that I work with, it's not just situational depression for them. It's a lot of anger and mood swings and PTSD because they all have some traumatic issues that's going on. You know, they come in my office and they talk to me, Miss Natasha, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? And, you know, I just had a situation with a girl. I'm like, you age out on June 5th. You lashing out on everybody is not going to help because you're going to be 18 in a couple of weeks, baby. You don't have your job. You don't have an ID. You don't have a GED. I'll mentor you. I'll get you. We'll do a to-do list. We'll work, scratch things off. And she was so wrapped around getting her state ID. It's like you just had a full spectrum mood swing over ID.
Right. And it's funny that you say that because in my job and what I love working with substance abuse, and it's because it really keeps me on my toes and it keeps me finding new and inventive ways to process life. Because what I found was when these folks come in and they're these habitual offenders, you know, the problem isn't always just I have this drug problem or I have this drinking problem. Why? So this situational depression or this drive to drink is really self-medicating because there's something else that's there that led to the excessive drinking, and that led to you developing this addiction. So getting to the root of what are we really dealing with here, and that whole journey is so rewarding to me. And I'm finding different ways to kind of pick and choose and help them to kind of get to why are we here?
Right.
Why are we here? Why are you reacting this way? And it's really a beautiful thing. It can definitely be challenging, but
Very.
but
That's
rewarding
why I left
at
the
the
older
same
people
time.
alone, and I went to the more challenging part, which was the
Which is
children
very
of
challenging.
your
Yes.
population. So with my kids, they smoke weed, they try to drink. But I had an issue with several kids.
Somebody said, "Hey, Miss Natasha."
Hey. So I had a group of kids that were taking pills. And it's like, I have 12 cameras in my facility, so I see everything.
Yeah.
I don't hear everything unless I'm doing rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're cleaning up at night and doing our rounds, I found these pills. And I'm like, who's taking pills in my facility? And they're coping with these pills. Cold, cough, congestion, triple C's.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, who's taking it? So all the kids snitch because I was like, there's no outings. I'm not buying y'all any food. Y'all gonna eat what's in the refrigerator.
We about to tell on everybody.
They told. And it's like, why are you doing this? He was like, I'm just tired. I'm tired of foster care. I'm like, how many are you taking?
Right.
And he's taking a lot to, like, he's delusional. And it's like, this is how you're coping with this situation. But mind you, the boy is so smart.
Mm-hmm.
If he took the GED right now at, what time is it? At 8:46 p.m., he would pass it. Because he's just tired of being in foster care and bouncing from home to home,
yeah.
group home to group home.
That's a lot.
Then he finally get a job, and he spends the money on what he want to spend it on, but still needs some things, so he steals. So now he loses his job. Then he goes to jail, and it's like now it's a domino effect. Because now he's gonna start back using the pills because he's mad at himself. But he's so smart. So smart.
And it just looks different for everybody.
It looks different.
Like that process. And I kind of want to move into the support piece of that. Just having folks in your corner that are understanding of what you're going through. Maybe that they have gone through the same thing, or that they just have a better way to. I like to surround myself, and I'm just going to speak from experience. When I'm dealing with stuff, I talk to people who are more logical thinkers, because I'm very emotional. I'm a very emotional thinker. So when stuff is going on, I'm going to call my friend that was going to be like, okay, Nay, stop. Because you're thinking about this from here, and I need you to think about it from here.
I have that one friend.
Let me put things into perspective for you. And just having that support. So when you're going through things, having a therapist, if that's going to help for you, which it probably will. Having those persons in your corner that are actually looking to have your best interest at heart.
My life coach.
Yeah. Pieces to the puzzle. Yeah. Your village does not go away just because you become an adult. It just starts to look a little different. But just for you and your life and just where you are now, your support system, like how important was that in just dealing with these different stages in life?
The support system is very, very important. And that is one of the reasons why I left my career of 12 years to open my own facility.
I know that's right.
I went from working for DCF, case management organizations, to having my own contract. And now I'm reading the comments
right, and
now.
I'm just gonna ignore that.
Women are emotional, but we're winning.
Right, unstable. So I don't know about that, but I'm gonna let you know.
I'm very stable. So now that I'm no longer under the governmental guidelines, I own my own stuff, so I can run it how I want to run it. And
I know that's right.
So now I'm those children's support system. And I have young ladies that have aged out with kids come back and visit. Young ladies that have been reunified back with their parents come and visit. Miss Natasha, Miss S, everything you guys told me was true. I should have just listened when I was in care. It's so much better being at home with my mom, with my sister. And it brought tears to my eyes. A couple of weeks ago, she came and hugged me and said, thank you. And it's like, I just want to be that support to them as like the village I had. So again, I left case management because I was paper Right. Wow, type it, paper, court,
Ooh,
home visit.
I cannot do case management.
Going to the going into ESI staffings, taking over cases straight from Child Protective Services, looking at all these gruesome pictures, being a case manager, being a supervisor, being an assistant program director. It was stressful. So I left it. I can say I retired.
Right.
And now I own my own place where I can help these kids how I want to help them.
Right.
So we do outings, we do independent living skills, we take them, the ones that have jobs, we take them to and from work. And we are a safe haven for them. Mm-hmm. Like I had a kid in foster care yesterday. I didn't even know it was his birthday until he was on the phone with somebody. So what did I do? Got off work, went to the store, got pizza, cupcakes, pop, soda, and came back. I had all the other kids come in the conference room. We turned the music on. They were listening to LA the Goat. And I was like, oh, y'all, here he come. He came in surprised. He was like, for real, Miss Natasha, for real? And I'm like, yeah, it's your birthday. Right. You got one more year. Let's just get through this last year, get you out of foster care, and get you on the right path. And I just want to be their support because I know what it was for me to be in their shoes. And it was hard. It was hard as hell. It was hard as hell. Depression, stress, school stress, financial stress. Which direction am I going in now? It was stressful. And again, I had that support system. Everybody in my life played a key role. Right. Everybody.
And that's grieving itself. Grieving your childhood. Not having a stable family unit. You're in and out of foster care or you're in this adoptive situation. Not all adoptive situations are good environments for these kids.
Yeah, I've had some kids that were in pre-adoptive placement and got removed for it because her husband went in the bedroom and she beat the kid, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, how are you gonna be adopting this kid and do all this stuff? Like, you're supposed to be that safe haven. So I just try to be that support that I know I needed and I did have. I try to do that to them.
Right. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you. I definitely want to give you the opportunity to open up about, you've been talking about your boss moves. Girl. And you out here doing it big. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you've got going on. Let the people know what it is that you offer, any events that you have coming up, where they can find you, your services. Support my kid any day. I'm sick of him already.
No. What is that?
I have no idea, because shout out to Crazy But True, the podcast. That is my favorite, but there's 3 of them. So I never know who is commenting and saying what. So,
well, you cannot send me your kid because they have to be adjudicated to the state. They have to be removed from their parents. So please don't.
Right. We don't want your kid.
Don't do no closeout cases.
We don't want your kid getting removed from you. That's not good.
Don't close the door and lock them out. No lockout cases. So what I have is a Sisters Keeper Foundation.
Okay.
And that is my 501c3 foundation that I developed from therapy. Okay. So as I was journaling, I'm journaling all my pain and frustrations and how I can overcome this, and what I would do if I had the ability to help somebody else in my shoe. And when I started developing it, it turned into a blueprint. So that became a Sisters Keeper Foundation. So we work with at-risk youth. It's a group of like-minded women. Okay. We're entrepreneurs. Some are still in a career force. We get together, we meet, we hang out. But the piece is helping and mentoring the younger adults. So I have mentees. I work with human trafficking survivors.
So I did not know any of this.
Yes, that's my baby. I've done one human traffic. Human traffic is a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. So I've done one human traffic. I've done one homeless family where I housed them for several months, and I mentored the little girl.
That's what's
She will be graduating this coming school year, going off to the Marines. Don't kill me, right, baby. I think it's the Marines, the Army, one of the two, something. And that's what I do with a Sisters Keeper Foundation. Okay. But within a Sisters Keeper Foundation, I developed a social enterprise, which is Elements of Intervention, which is my day treatment program, where we provide services to at-risk youth that are under the supervision of DCF and Eckerd. So again, that's Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough. All these kids are in foster care. And that program is a 9 to 9, 7 days a week. Okay. These kids are kicked out of school, refuse to go to school, interim placement, just getting removed. And they come to my facility. We mentor them. They hang out. So just to give you an idea, so we have a lounge area, which is our Netflix and chill. They have a computer room, a library, which I need your book.
Yes.
Put in the library.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a game room with PS4s. We have a conference room. And then we have my office. I have my couch. They come in there. They sit down. They kick it with me.
Oh, that's right.
And, you know, these kids are in and out of DJJ. So they tell me, Miss Natasha, I need to kick the bubbles with you. And it's like, y'all need to stay out of these people's jail.
Right.
So I do work with DJJ a lot. Some of these kids are on ankle monitors. So I have probation coming in and out. I have guardian litem coming in and out. Of course, case management is there every day.
Right. And this is yours.
This is mine.
I know that's
this is my bread and butter. I went from working for case management to now I have my own contract. Yes. So I still deal with case management on a day-to-day basis because I love it. I would never steer away from it. And then I've done the mental health component, but I want to just get away from that too and just be there for them as much support as I can. So it's days where I'm off at home in my bed and one of these kids need me, I'm getting out of the bed, going up to the building. What's wrong with you?
Right. That's
so
we got 2 questions. Someone says, does the kids that you mentor have to be court-ordered or in foster care? I'll let you answer that first, and then I got another question.
So to mentor under a Sisters Keeper Foundation, no. That is free range. I can mentor anybody. People on my team can mentor them. Elements of intervention, which is the day treatment facility, those kids are all in foster care. So I do keep them separated.
Okay. And then someone else said, how can I be involved? How can I mentor? How can I donate?
Okay. So just reach out to me, a Sisters Keeper Foundation. So we have ask_Inc. is our IG. Facebook is a Sisters Keeper Foundation. Our email is info@asisterskeeper.org. And then we also have Twitter as Sisters Keeper, the number 2. That is in regards to mentoring. Again, I have to keep elements of intervention separated because those guidelines, I do have to follow DCF. You have to be screened and things like that. So if you want to do all of that to help with elements, you're more than welcome. But as far as the Sisters Keeper Foundation, these are all community kids that I, work with. My girlfriend, she does CEOs in the school. So she goes to the schools. I have, a girlfriend that does hair. So she wants to come, wants to come help out with the girls' hair.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Then I have one girlfriend, she's an esthetician. I have 2 girlfriends that are estheticians. She wants to come. And then I have, a girlfriend, 2 girlfriends here in Bradenton that have their own program that they just developed. Brains and Beauty here in the Bradenton, Sarasota area.
Oh, that's right.
So
while we out here unstable, but making moves and doing what we need to do to help these children.
So I can also link you up with them if these children are here in the Bradenton, Sarasota area. Brains and Beauty that is for girls. They do etiquette, cooking, hair, and I think esthetician, if I'm not mistaken.
That's amazing.
So again, I'm around some like-minded women, some go-getters.
Got to be. Yes. And we will definitely, I'm mad at myself a little bit that we've been friends for as long, and I did not even know this was.
You knew. I came to our first event, the brunch. Oh, speaking of events, we have our Ladies' Night Out, which is May 24th. It is in Tampa. It's at Cooper's Hawk. It is a day of relaxation. Sisters Keeper is sponsoring the free wine tasting. All attendees are responsible for their meal, but it's networking. I have a guest speaker, Lou. She is over Empower Her. That's her bread and butter, and she will be speaking to us. It will bring your cards, come out, hang out, collaborate.
A little bit of self-care.
It is self-care.
As well as, networking.
And we have beautiful. Some gifts. Yes, come on.
That's what's up. I definitely will make sure that I am in attendance. And I definitely will get with you because I want to be a part of this. Is dope. I didn't know that there were so many different levels to what you had going on there.
Thank you.
But girl, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm here for it. That's
thank
what's up.
you.
So as we kind of wrap things up and we get ready to get up out of here, real quick, I just want where you are now, having gone through everything that you've gone through in life and just coming to this place of where you are, your mental health, your mental well-being all around. Where are you at? Where are you at? How are you feeling?
So overall, or do you want me to break it down into steps?
I mean, you can, whatever.
So in regards to my sister, I am at peace.
Okay.
I have forgiven all 4 parties. So again, I'm at peace. Okay. In regards to my relationship with my child's father, I am at peace with that. Mm-hmm. It took years. My daughter will be 12 in August, so it took about 8 years for us to have a conversation for me to figure out why he was so angry with mm-hmm. me and why he did the things he did. And I forgive him. Mm-hmm. Was he great to me? No. But he is an awesome father to my daughter. Again, he's in Michigan and she's here in Florida. He flies down every other month. She goes up there every break. He's awesome. Okay. So I cannot take that away from him. Mm-hmm. But as a man in a relationship towards me, he got an F.
Yeah. It'd be like that.
He get an F. It'd be like that. In regards to other past childhood trauma, I'm at peace. Oh, I'm at peace with the loss of my mom. Do I miss her? Do I yearn for her? Do I need her sometimes? Yes. Do I talk to her? Yes. I go look at a picture and talk to her because these kids and grandkids of hers is driving me crazy. So I'm in a place of peace. Again, because I've grieved so much and have so much trauma, I'm not numb to it, but I know what I got to do.
Right.
Even with a relationship. If I get in a relationship with a man and it doesn't work out, I know the process I got to go through. If I get in a relationship with my girlfriends and we're hanging out, we're buddy, and then you stop talking to me over some he say, she say, BS, I know what steps I got to go through. Right. I got to mourn it. I got to grieve it. Mm-hmm. I got to process it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I got to be vulnerable to it.
Right.
And I got to let it go.
Hello.
Okay.
Point of the story, point of the conversation, moving on and being at peace, doing what's going to be done to help you deal with life, process things that you're going through, and get to a place of peace. Mm-hmm. That is the ultimate goal. I was supposed to have been told you about this. I'm sorry. I will get her information over to you. And you know what? You did ask me about your daughter, and I do apologize. And again, I just said I did not even know the extent of what she had.
So are they local here or
in Tampa?
Oh, okay.
In Tampa. That person is in Tampa. So
yes,
I will definitely get that information to you. Tasha, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you for being vulnerable, open about your experience.
Yes.
Let's just this last one.
Oh Lord, she know I gotta try to tell for y'all
because it was great. You know, just life, health, and strength. That's what we toasted it to. And I will see you guys right back here next week, same time. Another conversation on As Told by Nay. Let's talk about it.
Yes, drink up, girl.
Oh.
You know that.